Monday afternoon to you, Evan and Tiki, as we begin another brand new week here on WFAN. There's a ton to get to. We will address all the bitching and the whining and the moaning concerning the results that maybe you didn't like in the AFC Championship game between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. Tiki Barber will have to put a robe on later and become a judge because there's something very important he needs to judge on. But I got to tell you, if you didn't hear it right here on WFAN and you didn't see it on SNY or YouTube, let me give you a synopsis. Aaron Glenn, the new head coach of the New York Jets, is the answer. And Aaron Glenn will make you, as a Jet fan, no matter how bitter you are, how disillusioned you are, how much you believe it's the same old Jets, he will make you run through a wall. And I get it's a press conference, and it's easy to win a press conference, and Joe Judge won his press conference. But, Tiki, Aaron Glenn didn't just win the press conference. He gave us, Jet fans, hope.
Well, he gave you a sense of control and a sense of command and a sense that I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I need to tell my players to do, and that they're going to buy into it, period. And I think the interesting moment for me was when he was asked about accountability. And it's something that's plagued this Jets team, really for as long as you can remember. But the constant mistakes and penalties and untimely moments that cost you football games, you ask yourself, why does this always happen? Why does it keep over and over and over and over and over again? And if you're just kind of parachuting in or just looking at it from the outside, you can have a million different reasons. Well, they didn't do this, and this guy did that, and blah, blah, blah. But when he said, and he's so right about this, I never even thought about it until he said it, I need to teach, and I will teach these guys their responsibilities. Like, you can't be accountable until you know what you're actually responsible for.
Right.
And he's so right.
That's right.
Right? It's what are you expected, or what's expected of you on this situation? Forget, game. Oh, I want you to play great in this game. No, forget that game. It is 3rd and a half an inch. You are a D tackle. What's expected of you? Basically, don't jump off sides and kick that dude's ass when the ball is
Yes.
Right? And anything else is unacceptable.
That's
and
right.
You have to be accountable for that.
That's right.
So I like the way he articulates what his plan is going to be.
His articulation tickled me for the 30 minutes he was speaking to the New York media.
It was quick, though.
It was quick, but sometimes, even when it's quick, it's a lot of fun. And this was a lot of fun. Now, Jet fans, Giant fans, football fans, I'm going to present to you the 3 moments. We're going to play it for you from the Aaron Glenn press conference, in case you missed it, that tickled me the most. All right? Here's number 1, and I want you to think about Robert Saleh. And I hate to pick on Robert Saleh, but good for Robert Saleh. He's back in San Francisco. He's going to make a lot of money as the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Robert Saleh's in a good place. But when Robert Saleh had this press conference 4 years ago, he told us about, we're all gas and we're no brakes. We're all gas and we're all... I forgot what the phrase was. Was it all gas, no brakes?
All gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. Very lame. Even when he said it at the time, it's like, come on now. Here's the slogan for the Aaron Glenn New York Jets.
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's my coach.
So we're built for this.
That's our coach. That's the slogan you're putting on the back of your car. That's the T-shirt you're going to wear. Not positive vibes only with that lame crap or we're all gas, no brakes. Even just, can you play it again, Tommy, please?
We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this.
Oh, my God. My coach. That's our coach, ladies and gentlemen. We're the freaking New York Jets. Did you think he should have gone full F word with that?
I absolutely thought he should have.
Okay.
But that's really offensive. Like, some people get upset about the F word.
He did say the SH word.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's less so. I don't know why, but it is less so.
Okay.
But I thought it was awesome.
God,
I can't help but agree with you, Ev. I mean, I'm not even a Jets fan, but I was like, hell yeah.
Yes. Now, again, the word of warning is this doesn't guarantee victories. I understand that. Giant fans felt that with Joe Judge, and I don't remember specifically maybe you guys do, what Joe Judge said that fired everybody up. I don't know if it was a catchphrase or it was just that attitude, but I do remember walking away from the Joe Judge press conference thinking, wow, I think you guys found your coach. That was really inspirational.
Yeah.
But this is better. And you know why it's better? I want you to listen to clip number 2. The thing you want when you're a Jet fan, the thing you want when you're a fan of any of the teams in this town, especially those that are little brother, the ones that are fighting and clawing to be the team, not just in the league, but in this city, you want to be wanted. Listen to Aaron Glenn's perspective on getting the New York Jets job.
When I was going to my second interview, I want to make sure this is going to be the second interview. It's going to be the first of the second interviews. Because I didn't want to leave the building without shaking Woody's hand and make sure we had a contract. So I'm just telling you now, everything else was really out of it. It was all about the Jets, and it's been that way from the beginning. The organization, we've already talked. I respect every little thing that you do because this is bigger than me. It's going to take us all. It's going to take us all to accumulate wins, and I look forward to working with you.
He wanted us. He wanted us. He didn't want the New Orleans Saints. He didn't want the Dallas Cowboys. He wasn't going to go stay in Detroit as a high-paid DC. He wanted this.
Yeah, it's interesting because on Friday when we were talking about this, maybe it was Thursday when we first got the inkling that this was going to be a done deal. And then he went back home. Yes, it was Thursday. And, one of the things that I liked about Aaron Glenn was how familiar he felt. You just feel like you know him. As a Jet fan, he's familiar to you. But interestingly, I think the same thing applied for Aaron Glenn as he was thinking about where he's going to go coach this year. He wanted to go someplace that was familiar. Now, it's not the same, clearly, because the owner is different than when he was there. But the Jets are the Jets. The Jet fan base has been the same. The Jet fan base has been in need, desperate need of sustained success, something else he brought up in his press conference. And it's familiar to him.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street. And it's the same word that I kind of took from thinking about him as the Jet head coach and about him taking the Jets head coaching job.
There was one moment, and Tiki was with me when this happened, where Aaron Glenn started talking, and I got upset. It was the first time this happened in the Aaron Glenn era, where I was like, why are you doing this? Why are you bringing up such an old, disgusting wound? Why are you hurting me? But then I didn't realize the brilliance of Aaron Glenn.
He set you up.
He set me up to pump me up and other Jet fans even more. You talk about wanting this job and the familiarity and maybe even having unfinished business. Here's Aaron Glenn talking about, you guys may remember this, especially if I'd say you're over the age of 30, the 1998 AFC Championship game. We had a championship game over the weekend. We guys watched both of them. But remember a time when the New York Jets used to participate in them? Remember that? Actually used to happen? Well, back in 1998, I was just a young 15-year-old. I was naive to the world. The New York Jets had a 10-0 lead in Denver against the Broncos. I genuinely thought as a naive young Jet fan, we're going to the Super Bowl. I mean, Mike, we are going to the freaking Super Bowl. Aaron Glenn was on that team. Listen to his story about 1998, and trust me, if you haven't heard this as a Jet fan, tell me how you're not running through a wall for Aaron Glenn.
Let me go. Here's another thing, and you man would know this here. Another reason why. In '98, we played the Denver Broncos. We're out there and we are winning 10-0 in the first half. We come back in the second half. They kick the ball off. Wayne, you remember this. It was windy. The ball stops midair. And they recover it. And they scored 2 touchdowns. I'll be damned if I'm not going to come back here and get that back. And that's one of the reasons why.
Oh, my God. I'd be damned if I'm not getting... Now, he got a couple of the small facts wrong. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. It wasn't the kickoff of the second half. It was 10-0. It was like a few minutes into the third quarter. But then, yes, that ball gets fumbled. They recover it. They tie the game. They go, well, whatever. Bottom line is the Jets had a 10-0 lead in the second half of the AFC Championship game against the Denver Broncos. And according to the new head coach, who feels being a Jet, who knows being a Jet, who tastes being a New York Jet, he's telling all of us, I'd be damned if I'm going to let that happen again.
We're the freaking New York Jets. We're built for the
you got to make up for it.
Yes.
I'd be damned if I'm not getting him back. That's what he said.
He's got to finish his story.
You're absolutely right. Now, did he say Wayne? Was he talking to Wayne? Was Wayne Corbett there? Is that who he was talking to?
I'm not sure. I didn't see Wayne Corbett there. There were former Jets there, though, that I saw, so he may have been. I did see Nick Mangold was there. I saw Damian Woody was there. So there were some former Jets being represented.
Yeah, but those guys weren't on that team.
No.
Wayne would have been on that team.
He was on that team in 1998,
Yeah,
yes.
I think he was talking to Wayne.
Yes.
Because I think he said, you remember this, Wayne?
Yeah. Well, we all remember it. If you're a Jet fan, you remember it. And I know that doesn't translate to wins. I get it. But bringing in a head coach who gets it. I mean, he gets it. Robert Saleh needed to be explained it. Adam Gase needed to be explained it.
Yes.
They all did. And I get that. You come from a different place. You're just getting an NFL head coaching job.
You can't know.
Right.
You don't have the institutional knowledge. You haven't studied the history of the Jets unless you were here, unless you've been in here in New York, or you played for the team, or you were a coach on the team for long enough to have dug deep enough into the history of the organization. You just don't feel it. Like, you can fake it, but you don't know it.
He feels it.
Right. And it's interesting because I think when Aaron Rodgers came here, just going back to his first year, 2 years ago, it felt like Aaron was trying to feel it.
Yes.
And it felt like he was digging through the archives and the history of the organization and trying to speak like a fan, someone who had been here for a long time and felt all those pains. But it was almost kind of, I don't know, like he was faking it.
Right.
Because he had to.
No, of course.
He had nothing but success in his career.
It's anything in life. I remember I worked in Baltimore for a couple of years. I had to learn the feel of being a Raven fan and an Oriole fan, but it's faking it, right? Because I'm not an Oriole fan or a Raven fan. But when it's here, it's New York, I feel it because I am a Met fan. I am a Jet, whatever team you want to bring up. Aaron Glenn is a Jet. And it doesn't mean it's the secret sauce to being a great NFL head coach. I get that. But it's a nice little thing to have. So if you need to win a press conference, Aaron Glenn won the press conference. Now, there's some business at hand. And one of the pieces of business at hand, and we talked about this last week, is how does he answer questions about Aaron Rodgers? Well, Aaron Glenn took a different approach. He said, before you even ask a question about Aaron Rodgers, here's what I'm going to tell you about Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers will be talked about. It will be talked about. We've already texted that communication with Aaron Rodgers. And as we continue to look at the roster, we'll make decisions accordingly. And that's with a number of people, right, on the team.
So here's what I get from this, because even when reporters pressed about Aaron Rodgers, he did a very good job of not really saying anything.
Right, don't ask me because we don't know.
Right, basically what he said in that clip, like, decisions will be made. We'll talk to Muji, who got no attention in this press conference.
Moogie!
You talk about poor Darren Muji. I mean, he was there, and he was tall, and he talked a little bit, but he was the most forgotten about guy, and that's okay because this is Aaron Glenn's team.
He's clearly the beta on this team. Clearly.
And that's okay. Really, it doesn't matter. The face of the New York Jets is Aaron Glenn.
Right, which is what we talked about last week, how I don't mind this. I feel like this is changing in some teams around the NFL. Your head coach is going to be your alpha.
Yes.
Your head coach is going to be the one that makes all the important decisions. I feel like Dan Campbell is that, even though Brad Holmes has done a heck of a job up there in Detroit. But I think Aaron Glenn wanted that.
Absolutely.
When he came here with the New York Jets.
I'll explain it this way to the baseball fans out there. It's a reversal of the Yankees and the Mets, where the coach is really running everything and the GM's just there kind of as a figurehead.
Yes.
Like Aaron Glenn is going to make big decisions, including this decision about Aaron Rodgers. And here's the vibe I get trying to figure out my head coach. And I think this is a good thing. I think Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji will be on the phone with Aaron Rodgers, and they'll say,
I don't think this necessitates an in-person meeting.
In-person sit-down?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, you may be right. It may not even be a Zoom call. It may be a, hey, we're going to fly out to you. And that's probably what you should do.
Yeah, he's not here anymore. It's too cold for him to be here. He's probably in California.
We'll fly to you. But when you fly to him, your conversation is no longer, we're the beggars.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Kissing his ass like Robert Saleh's staff kissed Aaron Rodgers' ass.
Absolutely. And
That's
you don't
not
need
happening.
to. you have a conversation and you kind of feel him out. If Aaron Rodgers' tone is, I know more than you, I'm the Hall of Famer, then you know, it's probably not going to work out. But if Aaron comes to you in a very humble way and says, boy, Aaron, I got to tell you, I loved what you said. I can't wait to work with you, and kind of gives you that I'm all in to win and I'll do anything to win, then it's a possibility that this marriage can stay the same.
4 more years.
But I do think that conversation is important, and one of the biggest parts of this conversation today that's different than a year ago or 2 years ago is Aaron Glenn's in the power seat now.
Right.
He doesn't have to bring back Aaron Rodgers. I understand there's a lot of Jet fans out there who say they better bring him back. Okay, that's fine. You can have that opinion. But the truth is Aaron Glenn doesn't have to do either one.
No.
He's in a position of power, and I think that conversation with Aaron Rodgers, and of course the cap ramifications, the alternatives, like there are a lot of factors that are going to go into this decision, but the one thing Aaron Glenn doesn't have to do that Robert Saleh did that you just said is kiss the ass.
He does not. He's not obligated to have Aaron Rodgers here in order to facilitate success for the 2025 New York Jets. It felt like the 2023 and the 2024 New York Jets were fully dependent, even though they had good players. I'm not taking anything away from the defense and all those guys, but success from the rhetorical standpoint was dependent upon Aaron Rodgers being the best version of himself. And as soon as that didn't happen, we know what occurred. It fell apart.
We will get to your calls throughout this program, your feeling for Aaron Glenn, but that's not the only thing that's going on around here. The other thing is we need to address Championship Sunday. There are a lot of ramifications from Championship Sunday, including Saquon Barkley advancing to his first Super Bowl. But the other thing that we address when we come back is the constant whining and bitching and complaining and saying it's the ref's fault. We address it all coming up. Plus, we talk to you at 888-808-1019.